Okay, here is the template I'm going off of. It is an existing D16 backplate that fits the spindle nose quite well. And we're going to locate for 3 pins like this is here. This is, I've got an old buck 6-inch 6-jaw attached to this one, and on these small chucks you really only need 3 pins. So you're going to machine this plate for those 3 pins. Now I'm centering this on the rotary table, and I thought maybe I'd get into some detail on how I do things. Not how you should probably do things, but all I can do is show you how I do things. So the first thing I did is I put this the right side up, because this is the side the pins go. Then I cut a piece of paper out. So this is sitting on a piece of paper on top of a 15-inch rotary table here. And somewhere down the line, somebody barked an end mill into it really good right there. This, at one time, belonged to the Union Pacific Railroad, this rotary table. So I'm centering that rotary table. I've got these clamps in place. I got 4 clamps on here just in case I have to take one loose if it gets in the way, but I think I'm okay. Now, on these clamps, I have little pieces of that sheet lead that I use quite often. So I have this piece sitting on a piece of paper. I have little squares or rectangles of that sheet lead under the tips of the clamps. Now, this allows shifting a little easier than if the clamps were just directly on this and the part directly on the rotary table. The paper, it's kind of like a brake pad, and it makes it a little bit harder to shift, which is a good thing. That means I don't have to have the clamps near as tight, and plus it's easier to move to zero it. And I thought I could probably demonstrate that. Let me get this here. Hey, Chloe, get in here. Hear her out there barking? Okay. Come on, Chloe. Try to call her nice. See, she doesn't bark unless I'm in here talking to the camera. Okay, so I got the gear loose on the rotary table, and it can be moved real easy. And I've got it very close, you can see. Maybe I should get that chest down a little bit. Chloe, come on. She's gonna make the neighbor mad, just that constant barking. Okay, so it's a little high there, and I'm gonna take a lead hammer, and you can see how easy this is to move. I moved it a little too much there. And the camera's in the way a little bit too. And we're getting very, very close. I think I'll get it on 0 so it's easier to see. Okay, that's high. Now it's not going to cooperate very good for me. Ooh, within 1/1000th, or even better. Oh, that's so close. I'm going to call it good. Now I'm going to start snugging these down evenly. They're not very tight. Get around over here. Now this just makes it easier to center a piece on a rotary table. Setting it on a piece of paper and having that lead under the clamps. Let me get that right on a number here. Right on the number 5 in the yellow zone. Yeah, it moved a little bit, I think. Or it'll drift a little bit. That is like right on. So just keep snugging. Make any corrections as needed. But this just doing a little simple thing like this just makes it so much easier. I'm going to move it to another number. Let's try that, number 5. Try number 10 right there. It's going to drift a little when I move it. Yeah, see, make sure that the indicator's not sticking. Okay, we've got just about a 1/2 thousandths from snugging it down, run out. Let me see, what are we looking at here? Yeah, just a little high right there. Oh. That's the ticket. Okay. A little more snugging. See, I don't have a very long wrench on here. But I want them even. I want stuff even. So how are we looking now? See, I won't have to worry about getting these clamps too awful tight with that paper. Like I said, it kind of acts like a brake pad between the metal surfaces. And I guarantee you it makes it easier to center something like this. I'm going to move it to another position. Whoop. Go ahead and move it over to that 5 on that side there. That loads that indicator a little bit more. It jumped a little, they do that. But see, it's not moving. That thing is within a 1/10, I'm not kidding you. So, final tightening. Very, very good. Back it off. Get it right on the number. See that? Good enough. Now I'm indicating off the locating taper here because this taper locates the back plate on the spindle nose. So that's the best place to indicate off of. Okay, the next step is I center this under the spindle and then go to those coordinates right here to do the holes. There's 2 holes and here's the XY coordinates, and I'll be machining in this area, and I'll punch a hole, advance at 120, punch another hole, go to 240 and punch the next hole, and just keep circling the thing as I need to change tools. I think there's 3 or 4 operations on each hole. Okay, we'll be back. Okay, I've got this part centered under the spindle. It's just perfect. So now I'm going to 0 it. I'll get it on absolute and 0 it. Okay. Now from there, with that centered, the part running true on the rotary table and centered under the spindle, I'm going to go to these coordinates and start working those holes. Okay, I'll get the tooling set up and start cutting metal. Okay, this is what's going to be installed. These are Camlock pins for the D16, and they're 5/8 by 18 threads. And I'm going to install 3 of them. I got 3 of them there matching. Then these are the retaining screws that go into a pocket next to those. These are 5/16 18 threads. So we know what we got, and now we know what we got to do. Okay, I'll be back with some beginning of the drilling here. Okay, I have it set for this coordinates here for the 5/16 18 retaining screw for the pins. And I'm going to start off with just starting it with a center drill, then I'll go for the tap drill. A little bit of lube on there. Make sure I'm set on 0 degrees, 0 minutes. That should be good. And we'll get it over to 120. $110, $120, right on 0. Lock it. I'm going to mark it here so I can see it easy on the edge of the table. Okay. So far, so good. Now, 240. $200, $20, $30, 240 degrees. Got it right on 0. Make sure you can see everything there. Okay. Triple check, looks good. Okay, I'm going to get the tap drill. I forgot to plug the microphone in. I ran around those holes there with the tap drill size, which was a letter F for the 5/16 18 thread of these retaining screws. Now I got a 7/16 inch end mill in there, and I'm going to sink a counterbore for the heads of these screws, about 400 thousandths deep. It'll put the head of the screw below the surface. Okay, so I'll go with that. And maybe give it another 10,000 in case I have to do some adjusting or anything here. Okay, it looks good. Fire it up. I'm going to back it down a bit here. Back it down about 450 RPM. I'm going to lock up that. And just see how happy it is doing this. I'm on 0 in the right spot. Okay, I touched. I'm going to set my depth gauge. I'm going to go 400 thousandths. 410 maybe. 200. 300. There's 400. Give it a 410. I'm going to set my stop. Okay. Perfect. Okay, next position, please. Right in there somewhere. $240. Looks good. Gotta put that ink mark on there so I can see it easy. Okay. Sink it in 410 thousandths. Okay. Exactly 410 thousandths. Rotate to 120 degrees. Right back at 0 where I started. Got that right on 0 minutes. Here we go. Sinking it in, mill straight in. Just under 450 RPM. Hit the stop. Exactly. Okay, there's the counterbore. So I'll come back and do the tap, and I think I'll bevel these edges, and then I'll start on the large holes. Okay. Okay. Well, back here at the plate, and I've got the retaining hole screws done. The heads will sink down below. Got a nice bevel going there. Put that over here. Now we're going to do the holes for the pins. And they're going to be somewhere right in there. Going to overlap these a little bit. And these retaining screws go right down that groove there. So the tap drill size for a 5/8 18 is 37/64. I've got a whetstone here. Put a little bit of spindle oil on it. And I'm going to do something that not many of you do. I'm going to take this drill bit And I'm going to touch it up on that stone. I'm going to feel it drag right on that lip, and then I'm going to roll it. See? I'm going to bring it right to that edge. Feel that edge dig in, then roll it. And I'm going to have a sharp bit to make those holes. Oh, it's so nice. And it just grabs my thumbnail and shaves it. Stoning a drill bit here. Okay. Now, I'll get set up and I'm going to get those holes started. And I'm going to drill a tiny pilot hole. Where's that tip of that bit? Less than the width there. And that'll reduce the pressure of driving a drill bit with a more jig bore. You want to take it easy on these things and help guide this bit true. So I'll get set up and do that. Okay, got the 37/64 tap drill. Held in a collet chuck, an Axelson adjustable for run-out collet chuck. In the Moore number 2 jig bore, we're going to fire it up. We're going to slow it down. I tried 454 RPM. Let's see if it cuts. I got a little pilot hole there for it. Make sure it's on the mark here. It is. I readjusted it for the large hole to this coordinates. So here it goes. Back it down just a little. 376, see if it likes that a little bit better. That seems to be okay. Drill bit's nice and sharp and honed. I'm on the correct angle here. I'm going 1.325 depth. Now we're at 3/4. Doing that little pilot hole just a little smaller than the point is a lot easier on this jig bore. Of course, with a Bridgeport, who cares about those junky things? You can just jam it in. But this is a jig bore here. .2 1.3 1 2 5 Okay, I'm gonna set the stop here while it's squeaking at the bottom. Okay, stop set. Back it up. And we'll do hole number 2. Which is right there. How's your view here? I think it's okay. You see me working this handle. Bring it to 0 and 0 minutes on the dial. That looks very good. Double check, triple check. Got the stop set, so let's just drill. I'm using the small gear-fed hand wheel up front to feed this. Drill bit's cutting evenly, and it's sharp, like it should be. Almost there. Now, of course, getting all these holes the same depth will help keep this thing balanced. Of course. There it is. Okay. Last position. You see that little hole there, little pilot hole. Okay, where are we going? Okay. Running 342 RPMs with a 37/64 tap drill for 5/8 18 threads. Getting very close. One inch. .25. That's it, 1.325. And there's the hole. Okay. Now I got to come up with something for a counterbore. So I will do that, and I'll be back. Okay, I got a 7/8 counterbore. Because the pin has to sit down in there. Okay, that's how these are. And that counterbore is 0.412 deep. So here we go. We'll see how she does. I'm going to slow it down quite a bit here. 250. Let's see if it will swallow that. Get the clutch engaged. Let's see if I can get my stop loose here. Doesn't seem to want to get in there. There we are. Okay, got my stop loose. I'm going to touch it off. Set my little DRO on the quill. To 0. And sink it in. 412 thousandths. It's got a bunch of teeth. It's cutting pretty good. At 0.2. Halfway there. .35. Point 4. 1, 2. Okay, I'm going to set the stop. Okay, the stop is set. Perfect. Nice hole. Go to the next position. Nothing but nice holes here. Watching my marks. Right on 0 minutes. Okay, here we go. Touching off. It's nice setting a stop, then you can concentrate more on feeding than watching a scale. Making the optimum chips here. Halfway there. Very close. And we're there. Last position. Now this is the last of the major cutting. Oh, I'm being finicky here. There we go. I'll have to put this cutter on the grinder after this. Sharpen up the nose of it. I'm glad it's working now, though I don't want to stop. I got something going with the grinder here pretty quick, I'll show. We are halfway. Get that clutch tight. No kidding, the cutter's getting noticeably dull now. The last time I used this cutter, I was doing the same job. And that was a while ago. And we're there. Okay. Now I'm gonna put a countersink in there and get a good bevel on the big hole there. I'll get that cleaned up and come back. Okay, I'd like to finish these holes up with a nice bevel. That looks good. Oh, I'm going to move that clamp. I can find the wrench here. I had a feeling I was going to be moving a clamp on something. Right on 0. Nice bevel. Doesn't that look good? Okay. Almost done here. Well, getting very close to this being done. Gonna tap the last hole here with a 5/8 18 fine thread tap. Got a center hole there. Some people say to the contrary. I can tap very straight holes this way, but I bevel the bottom. So the opening's beveled, so it's going to start straight. Beveled at the top, beveled at the hole itself. And I'll just screw that in. I think you can see that that's holding it absolutely straight. And you can see they fit. Plenty of clearance. Everything's perfect. Now, I've done this before. And when you do this for the first time, you can get it done, but you might have to juggle it around. You might have to cut the taper a little bigger. Might be too much. Then you might have to face it back. And experience is very helpful. But you should be able to do the first one. But you might have to juggle around just a little bit. Now, I'm an old guy and I've done this for a very, very long time. I believe I've made at one time or another, every D-type spindle adapter. I've made the L-type adapters, long taper, but I've never done a hard inch taper, and I seen a guy do it. He used an attachment called a quill mouser on his Bridgeport to do that internal key lock. Looking very good. And where'd that go? Somewhere here. Here's the key. I'm going to stick a magnet down that and get any of that. This will work. Get some of that stuff out of there, huh? Oh, I got a big lump of it from the pile in the middle. Now hopefully that pile in the middle will stay mostly on that piece of paper when I pull this off. Let's just see if it fits in there. Just like a glove. Okay, I'll get this off here. You can see how this line up for the lock screw here. I might have to take a bottom and tap for the depth on those, but just a little bench work and the thing will be done. Then we'll test it on the spindle and we'll be back for that one. Well, here's the aftermath here. Most of the chips stayed right in the center of that piece of paper. I laid the chuck down. Now I can keep these coordinates for future reference. And looking over this direction, there's that chuck mount in the spindle of the Axelson here. Held on with 3 pins. Now, of course, when I get the chuck, I'll have to face this, and that'll true it up. It'll bring it in register with the interface. Okay. And there it is. All completed. Now, it's not that hard to do that. But like I say, when you first start doing them, you might have to juggle it around a little bit, cut the taper a little deeper. It might be too deep, then you have to face this to get it tight, and you'll get the hang of it. Okay, leave yourself enough meat. I got, you know, like I did there, I got just enough. And I can't do anything further with this until the chuck comes for it, and then that'll probably be a whole different video, because I'm going to probably have to rebuild the chuck or do some work to it. And it doesn't look like it's had a lot of use, but it's kind of beat up a little bit, so that'll be kind of fun. And I got some cutter grinder stuff to do next, so that'll be my next video. I hope you enjoyed part 2 of fabricating your own D-type spindle adapters and backplates. Okay, thanks for tuning in.